In a major reversal, the government today rolled back its order mandating pre-installation of Sanchar Saathi cybersecurity app on all smartphones sold in the country. And this comes just a day after the directive sparked widespread concern and reports that Apple was preparing a legal challenge. In its statement, the government said the order was withdrawn because the response to the app has already been rapid and overwhelming, with over 6 lakh downloads in 24 hours and 1.4 crore users overall. Officials said the mandate was only meant to accelerate adoption and that is no longer needed. The clarification also backs what Communications Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia stated yesterday and repeated in Parliament this morning as well, that the app is completely deletable. The government emphasized that Sanchar Saathi is a secure tool designed to solely protect citizens from cyber fraud and misuse. It added that the app has no other functions and users are free to delete it anytime. Listen in.
संचार साथी क्या है? संचार साथी एक ऐसा ऐप है जिसके आधार पर जन भागीदारी के आधार पर आज देश की एक एक जनता और नागरिक अपने आप को सुरक्षित रख सकता है फ्रॉड से, स्टोलन मोबाइल से, अपने स्टोलन मोबाइल को रिकॉर्ड कर सकता है, रिपोर्ट कर सकता है। और 20 करोड़ हिट सर हमारे पोर्टल पे हुए हैं, करीब 1.5 करोड़ ऐप डाउनलोड हुए और इसी के आधार पर जन भागीदारी, इसकी सफलता सॉफ्टवेयर तो हमने बनाई है सरकार ने, पर इसकी सफलता का श्रेय अगर किसी को जाता है तो जनता को जाता है सर, क्योंकि उनके उपयोग के आधार पर ही हम लोग सफल हो पाए। और आज मैं रिकॉर्ड पे रखना चाहता हूं कि इस ऐप और पोर्टल के आधार पर 1.5 करोड़ मोबाइल कनेक्शन देश के अंदर डिस्कनेक्ट हुए हैं जो फ्रॉडुलेंट हैं, क्योंकि जनता ने रिपोर्ट किया है। करीब 26 लाख स्टोलन हैंडसेट हम लोग ने ट्रेस किए, 7 लाख स्टोलन हैंडसेट जो उपभोक्ता है उसे हमने वापस भी कर दिया है और 41 लाख मोबाइल कनेक्शन डिस्कनेक्ट हुए हैं, 6 लाख फ्रॉड हम लोग ने ब्लॉक किए। इसी के आधार पर हम लोग ने ये कोशिश की कि हम लोग हर एक नागरिक को वो चॉइस दें, क्योंकि ऐप फोन पे है इसका मतलब नहीं है कि वो ऑटोमेटिकली ऑपरेट हो जाएगा। जब तक मैं उपभोक्ता के रूप में उसमें रजिस्टर ना करूं तब तक वो ऑपरेट नहीं होगा। और मैं उपभोक्ता के आधार पर, जैसे मेरे फोन पर सर ढेर सारे ऐप्स होते हैं, मैं उस ऐप को भी दबा के मैं डिलीट कर सकता हूं। तो ये लोकतंत्र में पूर्ण हक और अधिकार नागरिक का है सर। हम लोग ने केवल ये ऐप सभी को उपलब्ध कराने के लिए कदम लिया है।
Well, that was a dramatic U-turn by the centre. In fact, to understand this, we also have Nikhil Pava, founder of Medianama, joining us live on this broadcast. Nikhil, a very good afternoon to you. How do you look at this U-turn by the central government and how important is this app for every single Indian?
I don't think this app is important for anyone, to be honest. Anyone who needs it can download it. It's not something that needs to be pushed into our devices. This reversal, the fact that it is not going to be pre-installed, is a welcome move from the government and the right thing. They shouldn't have mandated it in the first place. They shouldn't have made it uninstallable in the first place. So this is the second rollback that they have done. And I'm glad, but I wanted to just also inform you that there is one other regulation which has not been rolled back yet, which is the linking of our social media and messaging accounts to our SIM card. This is going to cause a great amount of inconvenience for internet users. It has been done without a public consultation, just like the Sanchar Saathi app was done. And while it hasn't received the kind of support that the Sanchar Saathi issue did, I don't think it's over yet. The government needs to be more conscious and careful and consultative in the regulations that it makes for us on the internet, because it impacts our speech, it impacts our privacy, and it impacts how we use services. They have literally no understanding of how we use the internet. And DOT is anyway not the right ministry to be doing this. So I'm glad there's a rollback. It took a lot of effort to get them to roll it back because they first dug in their heels in the initial couple of hours on the first day. Yesterday was one rollback where they said that it's not, it can be deleted, and today they've removed it. So I'm glad they've done this, but it's not over yet in a sense. It's not what we want in its entirety, because SIM binding is still there, and that's just as problematic.
That's right. And also, Nikhil, there were reports that Apple is preparing a legal action. Do you think that the industry forced this rollback?
Well, I don't know if Apple was preparing a legal action or not. And frankly, Apple has capitulated in Russia, where they have allowed the mandatory installation of the Russian government's Max messaging app. So our government could have very easily said that, if you're compromising there, why can't you compromise here? In the same way that Apple has compromised in China. When companies don't operate on the basis of principles, and operate on the basis of just jurisdictions and convenience, then you will have these contradictions in their policies, and governments can leverage those contradictions in the court of law as well. So even if Apple was planning a case, I doubt that they had a leg to stand on.
That's right, Nikhil. And the government also said that the app is deletable, but this was a forced installation. Do you think that this violated user consent and also device autonomy?
I mean, look, our devices are our private space. It's where we have our most sensitive conversations. The government has no business entering our private space without our consent. There was no consent being taken, and it was being forced upon us. And I'd like to remind everyone, despite what the minister said, the order very clearly said that it cannot be disabled, and that meant that it had to be, it was mandatory and couldn't be deleted. So the rollback is good. But why was this order sent in secret in the first place? Why did someone have to leak the document and we had to report the story? That's not the way public consultation, policy making should be done. Transparency is a disinfectant when it comes to policy making. And the government was very clearly the other one, the SIM binding order as well. They only talked about it once we raised the issue. So bad policies won't get made when there's scrutiny and there's feedback. And I think the government needs to be more open to feedback. It's that far too many things being imposed upon us, whether it was Sanchar Saathi, whether it was it's SIM binding, or it is in the ministry of, in terms of Nitin Gadkari's ministry, the ethanol issue. People have a right to choose, right? They should have a right to choose in this country. It's just that it doesn't seem that the government is in a consultative frame of mind and just pushing through diktats like this.
That's right. First came the rollout of the app. Then within 24 hours, it was, time for them to reverse their, diktat. Do you think that this reversal in just 24 hours will affect India's digital policy?
I see no reason why it should. And I don't like the direction that our digital policy is taking. We would need support from the Supreme Court, which I might remind you still hasn't heard the Pegasus case. And recently there was a comment around free speech issues where it sounds like there is, there's going to be restrictions on speech on social media and streaming services as well. There was a comment about requiring Aadhaar to watch Netflix, if you remember. These are not this is not how a liberal democracy that respects user rights, that respects fundamental rights functions. So I'm hopeful that this is the first step in the right direction, but we'll, like they say, we'll see what happens next.
But Nikhil, what are your personal views about this particular app? Does it really help Indians against cyber crimes?
I mean, all of these are my personal views. I don't know if this helps against cyber crimes. What needs to happen is education of people. Look at what's happening, right? It's entirely social engineering. It's because we are afraid of authority. It's because there is corruption that, we think that it's possible to pay someone dressed as a cop as a police officer from the Narcotics Bureau on a video call to make a case go away. They are leveraging the flaws in the way our country is governed and the fears that people have of our administration, where people feel that their rights are going to be violated by those in power. That's being leveraged. And we need to fix that. We need people to we need more awareness campaigns more mechanisms for people to understand that there is no such thing as a digital arrest. Digital arrest is the latest manifestation of this. It's going to, once that stops, something else is going to come up. So we need the government to be more responsive in terms of awareness. Uh, I don't think mandating an app or something that just helps shut down your device or or trace a device is going to stop fraud.
That's right. So are you expecting clearer guidelines, public audits, and also transparency from the government going forward from now?
No, I doubt it. I think once this blows over, the government will go back to doing what it's been doing.
And also from a user perspective, what do you think the users should look at it through which lens? Do they use it? Do they avoid it? What's your take and what's your message?
My message to everyone is that we should question our government as much as possible. When there are policies that impact us, we need to raise our voice. We need to ask questions. It's upon them to prove that what they're doing is in our benefit. We need to ensure that our privacy isn't violated. Remember, the data protection bill that the government passed 2 years ago says that the government is exempt from the data protection bill. So we need surveillance reform in this country because today the government can go and take your personal data from a private company as well. And you will not know about it and there is no transparency about it. NatGrid is being readied for mass surveillance. So we need to question the government in what it's doing here because this is what we're seeing right now with Sanchar Saathi. What we saw there was just one part of what's becoming a surveillance state.
That's right, and we've seen this in several other countries as well, from North Korea to China and even in Russia, like you clearly mentioned. But Nikhil, don't you think this is a pattern? First policies are issued, then there are debates over it, and then, especially in the digital space, corrections follow.
No, I don't think so, because unless it's because we reported on it and we raised this issue that there was a reversal. If we hadn't reported it, if people hadn't made an issue of it, there wouldn't have been a reversal. This wasn't a policy of testing the waters and then rolling it back. This was clearly meant to be implemented. They doubled down on day one behind this. And again, reminding you, the SIM binding regulation still exists and it has not been revoked. So I don't think this was just testing the waters.
Right, Nikhil Pahwa, thank you for joining us with your valuable insights. Well, the message is very, very clear. This clearly violated user privacy and also, smartphone autonomy, because a lot of our private stuff are on our phones, and this is one space that we don't want any interference, and that's exactly what Nikhil Pahwa said.